All right, so in this module here, we'll be talking about female body image issues. Me and Miranda, we had the conversation before many times where we see what are sort of the why does it occur for females in particular? And the reason why I invited Miranda in today is because she's been through it herself with different things, and I've talked with her many times now, and we have some really good conversations, and I would like to invite Miranda in to sort of give her perspective in terms of why do female experience those issues. So if you can sort of just describe a little bit of where did you come from in terms of when does it start for you in terms of the body image issues and stuff?
I guess when I was in my early 20s is when it really started for me. I became obsessed with being skinny, and I started to run a lot, and I really cut down on my calories, and I basically wasn't eating. And it became quite a bad obsession to the point where I remember I stopped getting my period, and I was really happy with that because it meant that I was so skinny that I wasn't getting my period.
Oh wow, you actually did that?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I remember people saying to me, "Oh, you're getting so skinny, you're getting so skinny," and I really liked that people were complimenting me, telling me how skinny I was getting. And then, but I guess when you're starving yourself and you're running every single day and you've got low energy and everything, I couldn't maintain that. So then I started putting on weight, and then I hated myself because I couldn't get back down to what I was doing. And then probably from about my mid-20s up until recently, I had sort of been obsessed with trying to get back down to when I was in my early 20s, when I weighed in my 50s.
Yeah.
And so probably wasn't up until recently that I've started thinking a bit differently about how I want my body to look and about how thin I want to be, or how...
Yeah. So in terms of you said that before with this scale, I hear that a lot from females in terms of they're going to be a particular number. Why do you think that? Why do you think people or girls have to be under 60 or under 50?
For me, I've said to you before, I want to get down to 59. I want to get down to 59.
Yeah.
And I think it's because for a girl my height, so I'm 5'6", almost 5'7". For a girl my height, weighing in your 50s, I consider to be skinny.
And where have you seen that? Where have you Googled that, or have you calculated
I don't know.
that?
It's just all my friends say it. We all say, I want to get in my 50s. I want to get in my 50s.
Yeah.
It's just something that we all sort of say to each other, and we all feed off each other. How much do you weigh? Oh, you weigh 62. You weigh 63. I want to get down to my 50s.
Yeah.
And we all sort of said that to each other.
I even remember that when I was a kid, in terms of for a guy back then, today it's almost for a guy it's about how heavy are you, are you heavier than me? But I remember that, you remember in school time where you have to, you see the doctor in school and you get weighed and height and all that.
Yeah.
And I remember the same as how much is it? How much is it? It was about being the lightest as possible there.
Yeah.
So it's probably what you're saying, it's come from when we grew up.
Yeah.
Friends and all that there.
I think as well, even my mum, my sister's probably the same. We watched my mum our whole lives be obsessed with her weight, constantly talking about how she's put on weight, constantly weighing herself. She weighs herself in the morning, she weighs herself at night, saying that she's put on 1 kilo during the day or 2 kilos during the day, and being really upset about it. And so I guess for me, I watched my mum be obsessed with her weight her whole life, trying to lose weight but never losing weight. Yeah. And then it sort of probably sort of created my obsession with wanting to be skinny but not doing the right things about being healthy.
Yeah.
And I even remember my mum saying to me when she was in her 20s, "Oh, I weighed 50 kilos when I was in my 20s, and I didn't eat, and I just smoked a pack of cigarettes a day."
She actually said that to
you. And that's how my mum was skinny.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking when I was in my 20s, I just wanted to be strong enough to not be able to eat so that I could be skinny. And
smoke
then
a pack of cigarettes a day.
Smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. How healthy is that? So
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think is, you touched base on it right now, what do you think is the reason for the majority of the people? Because not everybody is like you had a mom that told you that. What else do you think is out there that sort of affect people, or girls in particular, to have body image issues?
I guess when I was growing up, I probably didn't realize how much it affected me, but but maybe it did, was the girls at the time who were considered beautiful. So like Paris Hilton, Misha Barton, just those really sort of almost anorexic, unhealthy, skinny look was really sort of what Hollywood was looking like. And I guess that sort of maybe then it sort of created my idea of what a beautiful girl was, someone who was skin and bones.
Yeah.
So
what do you see in terms of social media today, if you take today? Because we are, as you said, with the Hollywood stars, like today we are bombarded with things. What do you see personally it affected you in terms of social media and people that are posting stuff and all that? Is it something you've been aware of affect you, or?
I think probably not so much for me now because I am in my 30s, but if I was younger, it definitely you would probably become obsessed with the females that you were seeing on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I do think it's really different now, sort of what's considered to be beautiful, than it was when I was young. When I was young, it was very much almost anorexic girls were what the ideal female was supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Whereas now I think that it's more about women being healthy and being strong and going to the gym and getting strong glutes. So I definitely think that even though now you're bombarded with more information, it's probably in your face a lot more. I do think it is moving towards people being healthy
more
rather
healthier.
than when I was growing up. It definitely, I don't think it was like that at all.
So do you see, like, because you can see girls in their teens today, and you're right, like it's become more sort of like health and fitness become stronger, but isn't that just a new identity? And do girls today feel like, oh, I can't meet that? Like, is it like there's constantly a new sort of like trend? And do you still feel like girls are not feeling good about themselves, even if it's going towards like a healthier sort of thing? Or what do you think in that way then?
I think if a girl only isn't feeling good about herself if she's looking at someone else's figure and wanting to achieve that figure. Where I do feel like now with social media, it's a little bit different, where we're sort of saying all of our bodies are different, and this is how my body looked when I did this. So I guess in a way, it really depends on how you're looking at it.
Yeah.
If you're looking at someone else's figure saying, I want to look like that figure, but then you've got a completely different body shape, then yes.
So we talk about comparison, like don't compare yourself to other people. That's dangerous. Yeah. So what would you say today? Like you said, like you're in the 30s now and all that. Like what have changed for you? What are the things you've done for yourself over the years since your mom said smoke a pack of cigarette every day and like don't eat anything and you'll be healthy? And you
my mum wasn't telling me to do that. My mum was just saying
she was just showing it. But that's basically the same as telling you. Yeah. But so what would you say? What have you done today to sort of like overcome some of the negative self-talk, self-image, comparing and all that?
Well, I guess first of all, the reason why I was so obsessed with being skinny was because I had low self-esteem. So one of the things I started doing yoga to sort of help with my anxiety and try to get more confidence. So I sort of did a few things quite separately. So I worked on my confidence and my anxiety during yoga, and that sort of really helped me realize.
And how do you do that? Like in doing yoga, for people that don't know what yoga is and how does it work other than just movements? How did it work on your confidence and self-image?
Well, it really worked on strengthening your body and sort of pushing your body into certain positions that you've probably never even thought that you could do, and seeing how you can become more flexible and become more strong in yourself is actually quite a nice feeling. Sort of seeing that you started something and you were terrible at it, and then when I continued doing it 4 times a week for a year, I sort of saw how much better I got, and I saw how strong I was getting. It was sort of something that made me think, when I first started, I looked at someone else in class and thought, oh, that girl's amazing. I could never be as good as her.
Yeah.
And then when I practiced, 4 times a week for a year and realized that I could do that too.
Yeah.
And I was just as good. I just needed more practice.
Yeah.
I think as well, it's sort of because you spend so much time just being in positions that you're uncomfortable with, it sort of strengthens your mind a little bit, and you start realizing how you react in stressful situations.
Yeah.
Like you might be in a really uncomfortable position, and then you start realizing that you're saying, give up.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Or you start sort of realizing how you react in certain situations. So that's another reason why yoga really helped me.
Yeah.
And then I think as well, when I started training with you, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember you saying to me, what do you want out of our training sessions? And I said, I want to be skinny. And you looked at me like, what do you mean you want to be skinny? I said, no, I want to be skinny. And you said, well, just keep starving yourself and keep doing cardio then. You don't want to be skinny, you want to be strong and toned.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think having a trainer say that to me, I've never had someone say that to me before, sort of made me think, it was just really confronting actually to sort of have you look at me like I was an idiot and say, no, you don't want that. And then, working with you and sort of showing me that it's amazing to be strong and sort of what my body could actually do with weights had sort of helped me sort of think differently about how I want my body to look and how I want to feel about myself.
Yeah. Why do you think I was saying that in terms of because like we basically don't know what people want. Like we can't put something on other people like this is what you're gonna do. But like why do you think I could say that to you in terms of like you don't want to be skinny, you want that instead?
I think it was because you knew it was unhealthy what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
And also that's probably not what you're about. You're about helping people be healthy and helping people be stronger. And so it was probably against your morals to say, all right, then I'm going to give you a super low calorie diet and let's just run you on the treadmill for an hour.
Yeah.
And then you can be skinny.
Yeah. Because we observe what you sort of like have been doing and that's what we see with lots of people. It's like, again, what you're telling me, like you've been running that same sort of like habits and patterns all over the time, like in terms of cardio and low calorie diets, and we're starving ourselves and all that. And because I've been working with it for so long time, like it's just, people can just talk with me for 2 minutes and then you can hear where are they in the process in terms of like, what do they believe? And, like one thing is that what you believe, but then another thing is like, what are you trying to achieve? And if that doesn't match, that's where there's a correction.
Yeah.
And that's where we are seeking professional help in terms of like psychologists or yoga teachers or fitness trainers and all that, like because they can sort of like they can move us in that direction. Yeah.
And I guess for me as well, there was probably I had a goal in my mind of really like I wanted to be skinny, but because I wanted to feel good about myself. But when I was skinny, I still didn't, when I was in my early 20s and I was skinny, I still didn't feel good about myself.
Yeah.
Because I was starving and I hated myself and my body was, when I lost weight up here. I had these skinny gangly arms and this skinny like chest, but I still had like thicker legs.
Yeah.
And so I still hated myself.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was like, if I can just be skinny, then I will be happy with myself.
Yeah.
Whereas now I actually like I'm more toned and I feel stronger and I'm not starving myself, so I'm not, my blood sugar levels aren't going crazy. So I'm actually now like a lot more happy with myself. But it's funny because I thought that I would be happy with
doing
myself.
the opposite of what you think. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, that's awesome. So what would you say, like here in the end, what would you say are 2 things people could take with them right away and sort of like start thinking about or start practicing, like 2 sort of like tangible things that would be like, if I'm just taking that away from the video, that could get me to start thinking different or start changing something in that direction in terms of, getting over the self-image, body image issues sort of thing there.
I think we've sort of touched on this before, is comparison.
Yeah.
I think you definitely shouldn't look at someone else's figure and say, I want to have their figure, because then you're just setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
So looking at your body, accepting your body, and just, you know, working on what you can do with yourself, and then you'll be happy with, you know, the small changes that you see with yourself.
Yeah.
And also I think for me, because I struggle so much with binge eating and not an emotional eating, is acknowledging the triggers. You know, when you do sort of think that you want to have a binge night, or, you know, you just want to go home and stuff your face full of chocolate, is sort of acknowledging what that trigger was and why you suddenly feel that way.
Yeah.
And then also realizing how much you hate yourself after you do it.
Yeah.
Because those are two things for me that I've started doing now and has sort of stopped me from that process, because I know I'm just stressed, so just because I'm stressed or whatever, like, why does that mean I can eat a block of chocolate?
So how do you overcome that in the moment of stress? How do you sort of like, you acknowledge the thought and then you're like, how do I move on from there so I'm not start eating chocolate or anything?
I think I just sort of remind myself how much more guilty I feel
afterwards,
after I eat it.
So the pain you will experience for actually doing it, that's your like wake up call there.
And then if I am hungry, then I will just choose to eat something healthy instead.
And now you're not hungry.
I'm not as hungry as I was before.
No, that's awesome. Awesome. I really appreciate you coming. Because again, we know each other and we talk with each other about all those sort of things, and I really think that, you know, your story and your sort of like awareness and thinking can be beneficial to lots of people out there in terms of, you know, where you are right now and what is sort of the path. And you touch point on a lot of good things in terms of your yoga, in terms of being uncomfortable, actually, you know, pushing yourself into situations you're not used to, sort of like gain new confidence and new like awareness. You expand your sort of capacity of thinking in terms of like what's possible for me. And then, as you said, in terms of you know, changing course and actually doing the opposite of what you thought in the past was the right way. And that is only possible if you actually are together with someone else, or sort of like are associated with other people that are doing something different in a different direction. So because no one thinks that like, right, I want to lose weight, but I should eat more of the food now. Like if you're just sitting at home and thinking like that, you will think in your head like that's wrong. So it was really beneficial, and thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you.